Hey all. Hello, bar passers. Jennifer Duclair here, the bar exam mentor. I love coming on and sharing with you the moment questions arise and inspiration hits because you need to know these things. And I'm coming on here live without need to hear this, especially if you're a first time bar exam taker and you're already feeling nervous, anxious, and afraid, and you haven't even graduated yet, or you've postponed your first bar exam and you've yet to take it for the first time, and you may be feeling all alone. This message is for you. When I sit down and I watch YouTube videos, I actually don't watch them. I listen because I tune into YouTube when I want to learn and grow and learn from experts without needing to go through too much trouble in order to find the information I want to get a hold of. What it usually does is it lets me know who's on the same vibration with me. Who do I fit with? Who do I learn best from? And when I find those people, I subscribe to their channel. I often share them with my friends who are on the same wavelength. And sometimes I might even go onto their website and look into what free offerings they have, what email list I can get onto, and also whether their live coaching services is something that I want to make a commitment to today. So I invite you, if you're finding value from the videos that I've posted here on YouTube and now the increasing number of audios that you are listening to, go ahead and subscribe and also share this channel with other friends of yours who may be taking the bar exam or even closer to becoming attorneys. They passed the bar exam and now they're building their careers. We have an attorney life playlist on this channel. So even if you pass the bar exam, you don't have to go away. You can just go ahead and save that playlist and have your notifications on because the titles of my publications will make it apparent when it is one of those videos that apply to attorney life that you as a new attorney will want to pay attention to. But isn't it good to be able to follow the same teacher, mentor, mindset expert all the way from the beginning of your bar exam journey through building your attorney life and even navigating love relationships as a professional woman? For those of you who are listening who are women, it's been it's been a specific problem to high powered um, corporate America type women to have love relationships with healthy masculine men where the woman feels provided for, protected, taken care of, even if she may out earn him. She feels cherished and adored. She feels like she's with a high value man. And there is a way to make this happen. The key lies in differentiating between your lawyer persona and your playmate, wife, girlfriend persona. And so we go into that as well. So here is a channel, if you are subscribed, that will provide you endless treasure as you navigate your attorney life. So definitely subscribe, invite your friends to do the same, and check out my website. There's a link specifically for attorneys to click on and start exploring attorney material. But jenniferduclair.com is where you can find material that's available for you at all price points and even free. And you can also find a contact form to reach out to me directly if you need support. I often offer intro sessions at a symbolically low rate just so that you can have the opportunity to get on a call with me and find out if we mesh and if you feel like you can learn and go deeper. So, this particular recording is for first time bar exam takers. You may still be a 3L, you may be a 2L listening to this because the bar exam is already bothering you. And if that's the case, you've done well just by tuning in. No problem gets better by being ignored. And just because you don't know how to solve it doesn't mean to stick your head in the sand and not think about it. If you feel bothered by something and you don't know how to solve it, you just start Googling, which is probably how you found this video right now. So here we go. I'm addressing specifically the person who hasn't taken any bar exam at all and yet already feels anxious. If that's you, I encourage you to start paying attention to your thoughts. Don't ignore them and try to make them feel better, but pay attention to your thoughts because anxiety stems from a few things. One, it could simply be a pattern of thinking that you already have in your head or that came about because of law school, because sometimes law school can really beat a person's confidence down. So you start thinking about yourself in a certain way that does not produce confident feelings, it produces anxious feelings. Anxiety also stems from a fear of failing or passing. Both exist. I'll explain to you right now the specifics of it. Fear of failing seems obvious. You don't want the embarrassment that comes along with it, the putting your life on pause, being thrown out of your timeline that you had listed for yourself. And more importantly, if you look at everything about failing that is unappealing to you, you could agree that it boils down to how you will feel as a result of those occurrences. So, see, in the mindset mentor world, what we do is we go straight to the feelings and then we deal with the accompanying thought. And then when we deal with it on that level, the mechanics take care of themselves. So if you're fearing failing, look at that. I have resources for that inside my Conqueror's Mindset bundle. You can find that in the Bar Mentor store on my website. If you're fearing passing, this does exist. Some 3Ls have no idea what their attorney life is supposed to look like for them, what would feel good for them. What are they walking into? They just say, I'll just pass the bar and then figure it out. Let me just keep my mind in academia. Let me finish this one last thing. And for many people, that is a recipe for disaster because naturally your survival mechanism fears the unknown. So if you're trying to pass a bar exam to walk into a big territory of unknown, that survival mechanism is going to work against you, and this may fuel feelings of anxiety. A lot of people pump their brakes, I say, when they're on their way to passing the bar exam simply because of the fear of the unknown. Now, there's a second fear that might be there is you know what your life is going to look like when you pass the bar exam and you don't like it. You don't like the prospect of feeling stretched even thinner. You don't like the prospect of dealing with venomous opposing counsel. You don't like the prospect of a lot of things that you saw either while you were in law school, maybe you had an internship, maybe you work as a paralegal. You saw those things. It characterized the legal world for you, and your soul said no. And now you're fighting your soul to go study for and pass a bar exam. Can you see how that might not work? So if that's you, I encourage you to go on ahead and click into my attorney life playlist on this same channel and start watching those videos because those will open the door to possibly a different way of conducting your attorney life. It will answer some of the open questions that you have that you don't have anybody to ask to. It will give you ideas or at least the hope that when you do cross that threshold, there are things you can do. There are resources. You can book a session with Jennifer Duclair, the Mindset Mentor. An attorney life session, intro session is just $97. You can do that for building your attorney life. Go on ahead and look into that playlist and start watching those videos so that you can start to receive a comfort level around your attorney life. So that even if you don't have it all figured out right now, you can be comfortable knowing that when you do cross that threshold, there are resources around that can help you to create an attorney life that you will be absolutely in love with. So that's another reason why people feel anxiety is fear of passing. We covered fear of failure. We covered a thought process that feeds into a lack of self confidence and So there's a lack of belief that you can do it. And if those thoughts are roaming around in your head on autopilot, that will create that sense of anxiety for an exam that you've never even taken. People around you may be feeding negative thoughts into you. You want to see who is getting a chance to inculcate you or condition you or program you with things. It may be your very school. In the work that I've done with bar exam takers, there was a particular group of them from a particular school that shared with me some of the things that they were hearing about the bar exam, about their chances of passing the bar exam, etc. All these things let me know that from a position of authority, they were receiving, there's no way to mince words here, poison. So if your school is actively drilling into your head how difficult this exam is without giving you hope, they may be trying to get you to buckle down and be serious about it, but there needs to be some hope woven into that message. If they are already telling you that as a person of your class, maybe your race, maybe your socioeconomic status, maybe the fact that you're going to their school, you will have a harder time with the bar exam. If they're telling you that instead of telling you how to fix that, then please dig into our mindset preparation materials so that you can help yourself out. You will need to counterbalance their words because one, they've been drilling those words into you for years, right? And two, they're coming from a position of authority. And if you know anything about the work that we do inside the Mindset Mentor programs, what we do is we relieve and remove the conditioning, the programming that you've received from dealing with people in authority that told you things that don't work for you anymore, or from maybe traumatic situations or life events, or mild traumas that were extended, like law school, that serve to imprint you with certain programming, certain rules, certain survival mechanisms that you built in order to protect yourself in those situations. And they worked so well for you that you never got rid of them when you left that situation. And now they're hampering your life. This is the kind of work that we do. It's self development geared towards the aspiring esquire and the lawyer so that they can have great lives because I'm on a mission to improve the legal field by helping lawyers get in touch with themselves and develop themselves so that they in turn go out and have a change, impact the world for good. Because lawyers are everywhere, from the White House to the community center. And my mission is to into lawyers and so that each lawyer goes out a hero in their own right, and in so doing, the message, the impact of this message is multiplied. That's my mission here, and that's what we do here at Bar Exam Mentor and Mindset Mentor, JD Life and Career Coaching Services. So if you know this about our work, you will understand that this area where your deans, your professors, your success coaches are actually drilling messages of negativity in your head. They mean well, I'm sure. I mean, their school's ranking depends on you passing. They're just going about it in a way that's not helpful. But because they are in positions of authority and they're giving you repeated messages over time, you almost have no choice but to follow through and make it a fulfilled prophecy, right? They obviously have not studied science of mind and how the mind works. So if you're in that situation, do grab all the resources you can get your hand on so that you can start turning that thinking around and erasing some of that programming because it is not helpful. These schools are trying to figure out why they have so many first time fails and repeat bar takers, and they're not connecting the dots between that situation and the way that they're speaking to the students for 3 whole years before these students go to take the bar exam. So since you're here and you're watching this, if you fall into that category, go ahead and share this with your law school buddies. Go ahead and share this with some 2Ls and 1Ls that are coming up so that they can get ahead of it too. And maybe this message will drift up to the people who are actually speaking these words and they might change their song. That's another reason why people might be afraid of the bar exam before they've even gotten to it is messages of negativity from authority, from friends or elsewhere. The fear of passing, there's a specific offshoot of that fear. You may be happy with going into attorney life, but your family dynamics and friendships might be affected when you finally cross that threshold. I helped one young lady who grew up, her family was not one of much means, and they lived in a small town, and everybody there worked by the sweat of their brow. And that's how they paid their bills. So they actually grew up making fun of white collar workers until she became one. As a paralegal, she sat at a desk to work, but she could still kind of get away with it because she had a boss. Her job was to serve the boss. The boss was looked upon negatively by her, her family, and everybody else that she grew up with as someone who made money off of poor people by sitting at a desk and just thinking and then charging 350 an hour for it. I don't know if you can foresee what sort of problems that she would run into as she tries to pass the bar exam and become the very person that she despises. Even as we had our coaching calls, she would speak despicably about this man, her boss. It was so interesting. And when I saw the pattern, I asked her about it, about how she grew up, and then she described her socioeconomic situation growing up, what her family and friends thought about people who were a little bit more well-to-do, and she explained how they, to this day, still make fun of people who drive nicer cars and live on the other side of the tracks. And so with this situation, not only was she looking at some money beliefs that had to change before she could allow herself to be the person who sits at a desk and thinks and gets to be paid hundreds of dollars an hour just for thinking, but she also had to deal with the possible rejection from her community once she crosses that threshold and becomes one of those well-to-do people. And those factors were enough to make her pump her brakes for years when it came to passing the bar exam. So this is something else to consider if you are feeling anxious about the bar exam and it's really more around the fear of passing. Now, some people, they had trouble with the LSAT. They had trouble going through law school. These things can feed into you saying things about yourself. And this goes back to the factor about anxiety that stems from your own thoughts. If you had trouble on the LSAT or trouble in law school, you may be saying things to yourself or about your future prospects that are becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. So all in all, you can see all the advice I've given you has had nothing to do with how much time you're going to have to study, what materials or resources you're using, what bar review course you signed up with, whether you have enough money to hire a private tutor, whether you're working full time, taking care of a kid as a single mom, and trying to study for the bar. I haven't even touched on any of those logistics. And the reason is because if your mind is not right, you could put forth all the effort in the world and it will not get you across the finish line. Your mind and heart have to be aligned with you passing the bar in order for your efforts to pay off. And what you'll find is if you do start your mindset work, and I invite you to go to jenniferduclair.com and look into those resources. If you do start your mindset work, your physical efforts will be easier because you're not fighting yourself. There's not an internal pumping the brakes system happening every time you decide that I'm going to open my books and study now. There's not an internal fight or flight mode happening while you study that wears you out much faster than the simple studying would have worn you out. Those emotions and the hormones that it ignites, they do impact your efficiency and focus when it comes to studying. So if you think your problem is memorization, you may need to look deeper. Why is your brain not retaining the information? Is it because half of it is being occupied with fighting negative thoughts and your body is all caught up in fight or flight mode? So, of course, you can't focus on what you're studying? Is your issue falling behind on your schedule or is it procrastination out of fear? We will put off the things that are scary to us. Studying is not scary, but successful studying that leads to passing, that leads you to a life that you're going to hate, is scary. So it goes all the way back to you can't get yourself to study on this one session, this one day of the week that you decided to study. And that happens repeatedly. And now you're 2 weeks behind on your study schedule because of the fear of passing the bar exam. You see that line of reasoning? So if you do not handle, first get to know and then handle the internal factors that affect your studying and passing the bar exam, you can be certain that not only will you have a very difficult time studying and trying to pass, but it's very likely you'll have a hard time actually passing. And the people that get through by the skin of their teeth often come back to me for attorney life coaching because now they are face to face with the reality of what they were afraid of to begin with. I hate attorney life, or I'm scared to stand up in court, or I have nobody in my life who understands what it's like to be here, or I'm not even sure I even want to be an attorney, or I don't like the way it looks right now. I'm so stretched in, I'm so tired, I'm getting sick. Now they're face to face with the very things that they were trying to put off. And if they don't handle it then, that only grows worse. And that's when you have miserable attorneys impacting the world for bad. Because attorneys, you're in a very powerful position once you get there. That's why you're screened so strictly before you're let in. You really can have a huge positive or negative impact on the world, really, and the collective impact of attorneys across the United States. Can you imagine what kind of impact you have globally? I mean, most of the presidents that sat in their seats, if I'm not mistaken, have degrees in law. So I say all this to say that if you take care of your mindset now, even while you're still in law school, if you start looking at those things now, you're setting yourself up for a beautiful life. You're setting yourself up to leave a legacy that you can be proud of. And you are allowing passing the bar to be an easeful and graceful experience. That's why my Facebook group is called Pass the Bar with Grace and Ease. So start looking into your mindset. And if you don't know how to get that started, simply go to my website, jenniferdeclare.com, and start looking around at what resources are available to you so that you can move forward and start taking care of your mind and heart and align it with passing the bar exam. I would be remiss if I close this out without letting you know that first time bar takers, there is now a mindset training designed specifically for you, and it's available free of charge at my website. Just go to jenniferdeclare.com/triumphant. Spell triumphant correctly, please, so that you can get there okay. And you will be able to request and download the free mindset preparation training for first time bar takers. Of course, if you're a repeat taker, you're welcome to download it and listen to it too. But don't be surprised if the emails you get following the download are speaking specifically to help first time takers. So go ahead and request that training. You will get more of my teaching. It'll actually be a interactive, not interactive because you're watching the recording, but practical application sort of thing. So pull out your pen and your paper so that you can start right now working on your mindset and preparing yourself to be mentally and emotionally ready to pass the bar exam so that the academics happen smoothly and passing is an inevitability. I love that word. All right, guys, that's what I have for you now. Go forth, bar passers. Check out jenniferdeclare.com to get the resources you need. Subscribe to this channel and please share it with your friends. That's how we get this message out there and we create a manifold positive impact by lawyers in the world. Bye for now.